Hello my lovelies, I've been needing to service my trusty old Kenmore for quite some time, for a while now actually, and I thought I would chat with you a little bit about the realities of having ADHD and also loving to sew while I am doing it. If you're new here, my name is Althea and I'm here to talk about sewing, having ADHD, all things history bounding and historical costuming so that you can creatively thrive through the art of sewing. Today I'm going to be oiling and servicing my trusty old sewing machine. My mom bought it when I was a freshman in college. She bought it new, and that was a really long time ago. It's needed a good servicing for a while now, and so I thought I'd spend some time with you for a nice chat. This really isn't going to be a tutorial. I'll link to some resources in the description below that has some great information on how to service your machine and how to do it and what not to do with servicing your machine. There's really far more knowledgeable people out there than I am on this subject. I'm a novice at servicing my machine. In fact, I think this may be the first time I've ever really cracked it open and done it myself. You can join me as I work, but I'd also like to talk to you, take this opportunity to talk to you about the realities of having ADHD and being a sewist. I want you to not be intimidated by servicing and maintaining your own machine. It's really not rocket science, but it may be something new to you. And we should never really shy away from doing something just because we don't know how to do it now. You can add so much richness to your life by being a lifelong learner. And even if that is just learning about how to maintain your sewing machine so that you can get many, many years of good and faithful service out of that machine. So one of the things that keeps sewists from, being able to start projects is executive function malfunction. And if you have ADHD, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know you have to do the thing, but your brain just simply won't let you start to do the thing. So what is executive function? Executive function is the cognitive process that organizes thoughts and activities. It helps us prioritize tasks. It helps us to manage time effectively, and it helps us to make decisions. And so executive function skills really are key to being those skills that we need to plan and complete sewing projects. We know that we need to do all of those steps to move our projects forward, but our brains are just, right bastards, and it's very difficult for us at times. Folks with executive function issues, we often struggle to analyze and plan and execute projects, schedule and complete tasks on time. We misplace materials, we prioritize the wrong things, and we just sometimes get overwhelmed by big projects. So, basically what it boils down to is we know a thing needs to be done. We have the time to do it and probably have the resources to do it, but we just can't get started on it. And try as we might, we just can't do the thing. And that oftentimes sort of sends you down a spiral of negative self-talk, catastrophizing about the fact that if I can't do this one little thing that my brain is refusing to let me do, then, everything sucks. And so that's one of the things that we really need to work on, in knowing that, this is just the way our brains work. And we can't let ourselves sort of spiral into that negative self-talk. Easier said than done, right? So I'm going to pop right over here and start working on the machine. You're going to see me just kind of whip through some of this. I'm not going to really do a whole lot of step-by-stepping. I'm not really sure how I'm going to film this yet. It's all a mystery. Going back to that whole planning thing. Come on over here and let's get started. So How do we deal with executive function malfunction when the slogan, just do it, doesn't really do it? The first thing we want to do really is reduce friction as much as possible. And one of the tasks in preparation for servicing this machine was pulling all my materials together, all my tools, watching a few videos about it so that I knew what I was, sort of knew what I was doing, and then putting them into my toolbox that I've had since I was an undergraduate in college. Another way that you can deal with executive function on a project that you need to get started is to set a date and put it into the calendar with multiple notifications. I oftentimes, the thing is a few weeks out or a month or so out, I will notify myself a week ahead of time, and then I will notify myself a day ahead of time, and then probably the morning of, and possibly an hour before. So don't be shy about creating multiple notifications, giving yourself the time to get prepared. You want to maybe have an accountability buddy. You can video chat or get together to encourage each other. In a way, you are all my accountability buddies. I need to complete sewing projects for the YouTube channel, so that helps me to keep moving forward. Another way to reduce friction is to make it fun, make it a party. You can get dressed up to clean up your sewing room. You can play great music. Let me know what your favorite playlist is when you have to clean up your sewing room. You can have snacks, unless you're cleaning a sewing machine with nasty chemicals. Another thing you can do is study the subject. Maybe your hesitancy comes from not knowing anything, but anything can be learned. One of the sticking points for me mentally for doing this project and servicing my machine is I haven't done it before. So I watched many videos and read many articles on how to do it, and then I wrote all of that down and turned it into the script for this video. So basically 2 birds, 1 stone. It's all about removing obstacles. Let's learn how to do this together. I've always just taken my machine to be serviced, but this time I wanted to get sewing quickly, and I don't have time to do that. My daughter and her boyfriend need some new medieval clothing for an upcoming SEA event. I'm giving Scythian a go for this set of clothing, but using mostly modern methods, because time is short and I just need to get them done in time. And because I like fiddling with things and seeing how they work, that's another reason why I'm, servicing my own machine this time. Along with ADHD comes intense curiosity and flexible creative thinking, so I might as well use one of my squirrel brain superpowers. You want to start once you got all your materials together and you've, educated yourself on the topic. You can start by consulting your sewing manual that came with the machine. There are often instructions in the manual about machine upkeep. They can tell you where all of the little oil ports are that you're going to need to make sure to hit in the service. I had lost my manual and found one on eBay. I've ordered that one, but I also downloaded one from the Sears site. Once you have your kit together, you want to make sure you reduce that friction as much as possible, because our ADHD brains are going to be happy to use any excuse to not start something. I'm going to, post a list of items that you might want to have on hand for this on the screen here, and I'm also going to create a downloadable for you that you can download after you watch this video. Looking at why it's important to do regular maintenance, and this is really both with the machine and in your sewing, mental health, and physical space, because, fess up in the comments, how long has it been since you cleaned or oiled your machine? I mean, it's been at least a year. I know, bad Thea. I'm going to have like I said, checklist for servicing your machine in the description below. I'm 12 years old and I giggle every time I say service my machine. Yeah, I know I'm pretty bunch of 12-year-old. So you want to kind of start with covering your workspace. You're going to be having a lot of gunk and oil and stuff. So I covered mine with an old towel rag, and you can use cloth or newspaper, cardboard, whatever you have. You You want to have a place to set your pieces as you take them off, something like a tray or a cookie sheet-like object. Sometimes you can have like a scrap of paper to make notes on and identify the piece and then set the piece on it. So you start by removing the old needle, and you're changing these with each new project or every 8 to 12 hours of sewing, right? Right? Yeah, me neither. So you wipe down the machine. You can use compressed air, and some of the areas that really need attention is you can unscrew the top and pull the top piece off and clean out in there. There's probably going to be some areas that need not just oil but greasing in there. You can clean out the bobbin area, clean out the needle area, take off the faceplate, and then you can also tip it over and do the underneath side. And once you're done, you can sew a test sample to make sure the tension is correct. One thing that I've found that's helped me is to sort of create an ending ritual. When you stop for the day, create a ritual that supports keeping your machine and sewing area nice and healthy. Making a thing out of this liminal time between sewing and not sewing. It helps your brain to do the thing. And I'm going to, after I'm done cleaning my machine, one of the first things I'm going to be doing is making myself a sewing machine cover, because it's important to keep machines covered when you're not using them to keep out the dust. So a closing or end of use ritual to keep your machine happy is a great idea. I mean, ritual elevates the mundane and connects us with the past and all of the people who have come before and woven Ariadne's webs. This can be as simple as giving the machine a good wipe down and then covering her up with a nice thank you for the labor and aid in your creative endeavors, to something that is more elaborate in keeping with your spiritual practice. I mean, we really don't have enough ritual and connection in our lives anymore. So I was just curious, do you guys have any rituals that connected to your sewing? And before I'm launching into my end spiel at the end of this video, I just wanted to let folks know that I am going to be launching a course in July 18th, I believe, how to curate your fabric collection. And this is, I know in the past I have been so frustrated with my fabric stash just being overwhelmingly chaotic. And this course is going to be designed to take you through the steps of really breaking through those mental roadblocks that keep us from creating that calm in our workspace that we all want, because we want to be able to walk into our sewing space and be able to sit down and to be creative. We don't want to have, a lot of frustration and anger about just the place being messy when we sit down, when we need to be creative, because we just can't be creative if we are not happy in our space. So this course, it'll teach you how to create systems. It's going to give you tools so that you can curate your fabric collection so that you are not wasting money on buying fabric that you already have. It creates an inventory system so that you know what you have and when you're running out of something, like interfacing and things like that. So I'm hoping that you will join us. I will post a link in the description below where you can get more information. Cleaning out our own roadblocks, giving ourselves an advantage by reducing friction points, remove anything that can give us an excuse to not do the thing. Something as simple as pulling all of your tools together and things needed for a task can improve your chances of actually starting the thing, and even more importantly, finishing doing the thing, and even more importantly, finishing the thing. So I want to thank you for joining me today on this video. If you're looking for ways to support this channel, I thank you for that. There's some links down below. And until next time, stay safe, get vaxxed, and I bid you joy.